I'm gonna do not disturb. Otherwise my phone will be. Sure. Hey there. You ready? All right, let's call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And roll call.
Councilmember Cedar,
Here.
Councilmember Kyleman,
Present.
Councilmember Cramblett,
Here.
Councilmember Pruitt,
Here.
Mayor Wood,
Here.
and Pete, happy
Late.
absent late,
Cheryl Price is excused.
and Cheryl Price is excused.
Yes. All right, additions or amendments to the agenda?
Have none.
All right, adoption of the consent agenda. Entertain a motion.
We'll have the action minutes of June 22nd, 2026, and ratification of the bills in the amount of $539,921. Second.
All right, I got a motion by Tom Cramblett, seconded by Kyleman. For the adoption of the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Tiffany?
I have some questions. I did email the city administrator. Question number one, the $108 permit. Seems to me, when we write those checks, okay, it's on page 2 of the second set of bills. Sorry, let me get us there. Check number 17274. I've never seen anything but utilities for that kind of a bill. That's just see to tack on the visitor center sign permit at the end there. To me, that seems like it should be separate.
I'm sorry, can you tell me again where we're at?
Page 2 of the second set of bills, there's 2 sets of bills. Page 2, it's check number 17274. And at the end, it's all about the utilities, but at the end, there's like this visitor center sign permit.
Right, so rather than issuing another check, it's included in the total check because it's internal complete. It goes from the tourism committee fund to wherever the payment is received in the general fund.
It just seems odd and out of
Well,
place.
the point is, as long as we can track it, and we know where it's at, and what it's for.
Okay,
We don't need a separate check.
okay, I've just never seen that particular check used for anything but the utilities or the different departments, but okay. Okay, and then I do want to state that, the check, if we go back to page 1 of the first set of bills. Check number 17255. When did we start buying things for the PCT bikers?
It's a legitimate tourism expense because these are tourists coming to our town, they're PCT active. And the tourism committee met with the trail angels. Trail angels asked for a request for funds to buy supplies and stuff for the people that come down the trail who sometimes don't have any money for money to. And the tourism committee said, yeah, we'll help them out.
Okay, well, I kind of have a problem with it. I'm not against it. I'm not against the idea, but to me, I thought the purpose of tourism was to spend money to get people to come to Cascade Locks, not give people things when they got here. It just seems slightly backwards to me. I don't ever remember doing this before, but of course
We've never spotted the trail, this is a new group.
okay. I just, And what did we buy? I mean, there was nothing in the report, there was nothing, they just.
It was in your tourism minutes
Yeah, but
last time,
yeah, but
and there's all kinds of supplies that they bought, feminine supplies and available for people. Just all kinds of different things. Kleenexes,
First aid.
first aid kits,
Hand sanitizer, things like that, that they can put in their backpacks.
Okay, well, I have an issue with that.
All right, Courtney. It's similar to spending money on pamphlets that people pick up when they get here, right? It's something that they are receiving when they get here, but I understand your point. That we promote. Part of tourism is to promote people coming here to spend money. As opposed to. Being over money. But the statement that we don't put money towards tourism to give people things isn't entirely accurate either, because we hand out brochures, we print those out and everything. Bernard.
Yeah, I think I agree with Councilmember Pruitt. This seems like an inappropriate expenditure. The tourism materials like a map or a brochure, that's to encourage them to stay here and spend money. It's not just a handout, maybe it's a portrait of word, but just a handout for they came to town, so here's stuff for you. So, I mean, I don't know what DORS says on that type of expenditure, but it seems inappropriate. I'd like the attorney I'd like to ask the attorney if that's an appropriate use of tourism.
We have spent tourism money on that kind of stuff before, even before I was ever on council or anything, because back in the day, PCT days, we bought these green bandanas for 2019, I think the year it was. And we hand them all out. We've had, okay, if they put it down in the visitor center, because they do that PCT, during PCT days, they put the visitor center thing down there. And they promote all of that stuff, but. That sounds like advertising, and I would understand spending money on advertising.
Same here, that's how I read, not as.
Well, they did buy bandanas, I was just telling you, this is not the first time and the only time. We have bought stuff.
Well, I spoke out against that when they did that too, because I mean, if they wanna. Get it to sell, to get more money into the tourism fund, that's fine, but I don't know, I disagree, but that's.
I'm wondering if there's better ways that we could spend our tourism dollars towards PCT days. I don't think anybody here is against.
Agreed.
PCT days, it brings a lot of people and we absolutely enjoy hosting and all of that, but I'm wondering if maybe we could spend our money.
they get a $2,500 grant every year for PCT days from the tourism committee.
What was that?
The PCT committee gets a $2,500 grant from the tourism committee.
So is that what this was then, is
No,
tourism?
this is entirely separate. Trail agents.
So why couldn't it come out of that, I'm wondering?
Because that's probably.
Because we're gonna- Yeah, we already gave the 2,500 to the.
Yeah.
So now it kind of sounds like they can't allocate their money well enough that they need to get more?
But no, that's already advanced, no, that's already advanced.
Okay.
This is for
Okay, one at a
people
time.
traveling through. At various times of the year,
It's two different groups.
yes,
PCT is on its own entity, and this is the Trail Angels that try to help people that walk through town. Help them, give them a map so they can find out where the restaurants are, where the showers are, where the bathrooms are. There's all kinds of stuff. Most of it is at the Whiskey Flats. There's a trail, there's a service area there for them to pick up these kinds of items, and it's those little picky things, you know.
You guys want him to just check, is that what you're?
I put a
Okay,
note down.
so-
Yes, please.
He will check on it and get back to us so we can move on. All right, so I have a motion on the floor by Tom and second by Courtney for approval of the action minutes of June 22nd, 2026, and ratification of the bills in an amount of $539,921.25. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Nay. All right, so we got 4-1. One opposed. It's Pruitt. All right.
Madam Mayor,
Yes. Whatever.
I got a note from Councilmember Happy here, says, I sent a text to the mayor, hadn't heard back. He has Zoe, his daughter with him this evening,
Yeah, he's late.
let's see. We're still, okay,
They're waiting on their.
I'm gonna miss the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, he's gonna be late. Yeah, I already had said that he was gonna be late.
I just got that literally right at 7, so,
Yeah, I just got it too.
Okay.
And I
all right.
got all this going on, so I wasn't able to text back. All right, so we got past that. We have appearances of interested citizens to share on a variety of perspectives on issues facing our community, and I have 3 of them. Do you have the timer thing? Do you know how to do that? Or just Gordon?
Somebody can set a timer.
Gordon's gonna do it. All right, so if John would come forward and you just sit there at that table and tell us your name and
3 minutes.
5 minutes. Each of you get 5 minutes and there's a timer that will go here. You don't have to use it all,
Oh, no,
but.
he's gonna do it on the spot.
Oh, he's gonna do it on his phone, so you're not gonna know.
That's fine.
No, we're kind of like winging this a little bit. Thank you for coming, John, by the way.
Yeah. So, I live next door to the house that recently burned down on Benson. And I just want to communicate my experiences, my family's experiences in that situation. My name is John Randall. I live next door to the property at 220 Southwest Benson Avenue. I'm here tonight because my family and I have been living with the continuing consequences of the fire that destroyed the house next door. And we are asking the city to take action to address what has become an ongoing health, safety, and nuisance issue. The fire did not only destroy the neighboring residents, it also caused substantial damage to my home. Portions of our siding must be replaced, attic insulation must be removed and replaced due to smoke contamination, and smoke mitigation work must be performed inside our house. Although the fire occurred in another property, its effects extended directly into our lives and our home. Approximately 3 weeks after the initial fire, a second fire occurred on the property. Since then, the site has not been properly cleaned up. Instead of removing debris from the property, much of it has simply been moved from one location to another. An excavator was brought onto the property and used extensively. However, the debris remains, and little meaningful cleanup appears to have occurred. Burned materials, junk, and refuse remain scattered throughout the property. The electrical service drop that once supplied the house with electricity was excavated and remains exposed above ground. As neighboring property owners, we're concerned about the safety implications of that condition. The property was also in poor condition before the fire. Various items were strewn throughout the lot, including disabled vehicles, debris, and accumulated materials. A dumpster was reportedly made available before the fire, but the overall condition of the property did not improve. Today, the property remains filled with debris and refuse. During warm weather, odors from the site can be detected from our property and sometimes enter our home when our windows are open. For approximately a year before the fire, we experienced frequent late night disturbances from activities occurring on the property. It was common to hear drilling, welding, sawing, hammering, and other loud work between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning. These activities repeatedly disrupted our sleep and negatively impacted our quality of life. Following the fire, our concerns have shifted from nuisance issues to safety concerns. We have observed cigarettes being discarded into areas containing debris and combustible materials. During the 4th of July holiday, fireworks were launched from the property near debris piles. Given the property's histories of fires, these actions are deeply concerning. The continuing condition of the property has created significant stress for my family. Every time there is unexplained activity, loud noises, or signs of potential fire hazards, we find ourselves worried that there could be another emergency. The emotional impact has been especially severe for my wife. Since the fire, she experiences significant anxiety whenever anything unexpected occurs next door. The stress associated with the fire, the subsequent incidents, and the ongoing condition of the property has become serious enough that she is now receiving therapy. We are not here seeking punishment. We are asking for intervention and enforcement before another incident occurs. We respectfully request the city inspect the property, identify and address any code violations or safety hazards, require the removal of fire debris and accumulated debris, establish a compliance timeline, and enforce applicable ordinances so that this property no longer poses a risk to neighboring residents.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Jared. Come forward. You just state your name and where you live
All
and.
right, I'm Jared Daniel. I live on 120 Southwest Rockland Street. And I'm also here to bring up the public safety concerns regarding 220 Southwest Benson Street. The house that caught fire. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here today as a nearby resident and neighbor to express concerns about the ongoing safety conditions of the property located at 220 Southwest Benson following the recent house fire. First, I want to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of our firefighters and emergency responders, as well as the compassion shown to those who were displaced by this tragic event. My purpose tonight is not to speculate about the cause of the fire or assign blame. My request is simply that the city continue working with the appropriate agencies to ensure the property no longer poses a risk to surrounding residents and that cleanup is conducted safely and responsibly. The fire was significant. During the incident, multiple propane explosions were heard and propane cylinder reportedly struck a neighbor's home, damaging its siding. Fireline tape remained around the property for approximately 1 week. After the tape was removed, the fire department returned to extinguish the fires that had rekindled within the debris. Even before the fire, the property had been a concern for many neighbors. It contained large amounts of accumulated garbage and debris, and the owner was provided a large drop box to assist with cleanup. From what I observed, the home also appeared heavily cluttered. Since the fire, there has been frequent nighttime activity at the property. Individuals have been searching through the burned debris using headlamps after dark, and an excavator has been brought onto the site to disturb the burned structure and foundation. These activities have raised understandable concerns amongst myself and nearby residents, many of whom have contacted both the city and law enforcement seeking guidance and reassurance. The fire has also affected neighboring properties. One home sustained damage when a propane cylinder struck it during the fire. Another neighbor homeowner is now replacing exterior siding, wall insulation, attic insulation, having professional smoke remediation completed throughout their home with their insurance. Since excavation began, loose debris and trash from the property have repeatedly blown into neighboring yards. Several nearby residents, including myself, have had to pick up and dispose of debris that originated from the burned property. These debris continue to spread several houses away, creating an ongoing nuisance and raising concerns about whether the site is being adequately secured and maintained during the cleanup process. As neighbors, our concerns are straightforward. We want to know that cleanup is being conducted safely, that any remaining hazards are being managed appropriately, and that the surrounding neighborhood is being protected throughout the cleanup process. I respectfully ask the city coordinate with appropriate agencies and provide residents with information regarding whether the property has been released for demolition and cleanup, whether all required permits and approvals have been obtained, whether cleanup is being conducted in accordance with applicable safety, environmental, and nuisance regulations, whether any additional measures are necessary to protect the neighboring residents while cleanup continues, which agencies are responsible for ongoing oversight of the property, and whom residents should contact if additional concerns arise. So finally, I just would like to share one additional current concern. I've known this family for several years and have personally helped the homeowner with household repairs and other needs. Based on my observations over time, I'm concerned that she may be a vulnerable older adult who could benefit from additional support. I recognize this is a sensitive matter and I raise it out of genuine concern for her well-being. If appropriate, I respectfully ask the city to consider coordinating with the Hood River County and Adult Protective Services to ensure that she has access to any assistance or resources that may be available. My hope is that the situation can be resolved in a way that protects both the homeowner and the surrounding neighborhood. I appreciate the council's time, your service to our community, and your consideration of these concerns.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. I'll provide a copy and I'll send it to you later.
Thank you. All right, Monica. Please come forward.
Hello.
Thank you for coming too.
Yes, thank you guys for letting us come here. I'm Monica Manzo and I live at 225 Southwest Benson Avenue, which is the property directly in front of the burned down house. And I'm also here to discuss my concerns, my ongoing concerns about that property. So my name is Monica Manzo and I'm here tonight to talk to you guys not only as a concerned member of this community, but also as a concerned mother about the safety concerns on Benson Street. We moved here in 2022 when we decided we wanted a slower pace of life for our children and a place to settle down and call home. When we moved to Cascade Blocks, we felt so much peace, and as a stay-at-home mom, I felt safe. There's such a sense of community here, which isn't what I had experienced when we lived closer to the city. However, as of October 2025, I no longer feel safe in my home. For months, I had been calling with complaints of all the junk and how my neighbors would leave fires unattended. One instance, I called the fire chief and he came to talk to them. I saw them put the fire out, and as soon as he left, they started it right back up. It was about 2 a.m. in the morning. The fires they had going were not controlled in a fire barrel. Oftentimes, they were way too big for comfort. I would talk to my friends and family saying that I was so worried that they would, that their house would catch on fire in the middle of the night when we were sleeping, which is exactly what happened. Prior to the fire, they were always outside working from the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. and doing stuff such as hammering, welding, sawing, throwing metal around, and burning various items in the fire that they had going all night long, and most likely didn't have a burn permit to be doing so. Since they would work at night, they also had 5 lights all pointed at our house that disturbed our sleep and ultimately made us feel uneasy. Since the fire, I have experienced severe anxiety. I couldn't leave my house. I wasn't sleeping because I was terrified of another fire happening. Mind you, I have 3 kids, 6 and under. One of them is a newborn. I got to the point where I had to start taking anti-anxiety medication and even doubling my original dose. I came to City Hall to make a complaint, and I actually had a conversation with Gordon. I mentioned I had to start taking anti-anxiety meds because of the situation next door, to which he replied, "Are you sure it isn't because of your kids?" Which was extremely belittling and really invalidated my feelings and frustrations. My neighbors took it upon themselves to demo the rest of the house without any permits or knowledge as to what they are doing. For the past month, he has just been moving debris from one side to another, making the property look worse and worse every day. In my opinion, the backhoe has been more of a toy for him more than anything. I even witnessed him pick up Becca in the bucket of the backhoe and take her up the hill, which is extremely dangerous. Not only that, but he drives with the scoop down, so it is scraping the road and it's making a really obnoxious sound, and I'm sure it is damaging the road, which I know is very expensive to fix. He has also driven it to town to the Shell gas station to fill up on gas. There are certain protocols when handling and disposing of burned material, especially if there's a possibility of asbestos, which is a high possibility since the house was built in about 1979. They had black mold in the house, which doesn't just go away when there's a fire. Not only does it look awful outside, it also smells, and we are unable to open our windows. We also have not been able to let our kids go out into our backyard this summer because of all of the harmful dust and dangerous debris and metals all over their property that is not secured. On the 4th of July, I witnessed a flickering light inside the RV, which immediately put me on high alert. I was looking out the window and I saw a firecracker fly out from inside the RV and into the huge piles of debris. It wasn't just one, it was multiple illegal firecrackers exploding all over the property and in towards our property as well. And multiple piles of debris. I called 911, but no one ever showed up. They had mentioned that the house fire was caused because of illegal fireworks, so it truly baffled me that someone would be lighting fireworks when their house had just burned down because of illegal fireworks. Overall, I just want to feel safe in my home once again and not be constantly looking out the window, wondering what they are doing and whether it is a cause of concern or not. I want to be able to leave my house and not be checking our cameras constantly to see what they are doing. I want my kids to be able to enjoy the space that we have worked so hard for. Thank you for listening to my concerns tonight, and I hope we are all able to find a resolution to the ongoing problems on Benson Street.
Thank you,
I
thank you for
also-
coming.
Yes, I also have, these are the firecrackers that he was, setting off, which are illegal. And I have a lot of videos and pictures that I have sent to, Jake. I've been working with him. And April 10th, they had an out of control looking fire. And he was also welding, and they had all these tarps all over, which was such a huge fire hazard. And I have just expressed my concerns time and time again, and I just really want to find a resolution and figure out a plan for us to feel safe in our homes again.
Thank you guys for all coming, and we, the council, I, the mayor, I heard you. And we'll work on it,
Thank you, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
thank you.
So can I give my fair statement to?
Yeah. And then she could. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, special reports. Public hearings. Action items, approve award for the residential street rail rehabilitation contract.
You have in your staff report the information from the bidders, for the, street rehabilitation for Venture Viewer and Sunset. Ajax Northwest was the lowest responsible bidder for $204,700, which is just under the budget of $207,600.
Just so we can have discussion, I'll make a motion to award the residential rehabilitation contract to Ajax Northwest in the amount of $204,700.
Second.
Second, all right. I got a motion on the floor by Pruitt, second by Calvin, and to approve award of residential street rehabilitation contract. Any discussion? Bernard.
Yeah, so I had a similar comment in the last bid award. And I'm still challenged by the idea of not setting a not exceed bid award. If I would like this motion to read some of the effect, approve the residential street rehabilitation contract to Ajax Northwest in amount not to exceed the $204,000 plus a 10% contingency. And if the project needs more money, then the city administrator comes back to us and seeks that. We hear what happened, and we are properly doing oversight of a large project being conducted in our town. That's how I've lived this and worked this and all my city administrator jobs and finance director and everything. We always did it in that fashion. And to be clear, I asked the finance director to try to give clarification on how does our purchasing policy read on contracts like this? And the city administrator has a purchasing authority for $25,000. Not $205,000, 20, okay. So, and in theory, given that, if the contractor knows that, they could go, okay, we've got a change order for $20,000. Council has no idea, now the contract went from 204 to 224. Oh, we got another change order for $20,000. And they just keep doing that. We need to have a not to exceed, and if there's a need to exceed, we need to hear about it and make the approval or, problem solve it. That's my hope. That's how I'd like this contract to work, and I'd like others to work as well. So I'm just voicing that comment.
I just wanna have you clarify with me and remind me, because I don't remember, I know we had this discussion at last meeting, and didn't the council say that we didn't want that?
Yes, we did, he wanted 10% added to the last contract.
Yeah.
Added on it, just in case,
Yeah,
basically.
Courtney.
I feel like you're saying something different slightly this time though.
Okay, well, I'm not sure what that is.
I think it's saying the same thing, just
Same thing, yeah.
I'm just hearing something
You just
different.
speak words. Just-
Yeah. I feel like. It's not saying that the total can't go over 204,000 plus 10%
It's not.
at all. I don't think that's being said at all. It's just a matter of coming back and having guardrails in place so that council is updated when it goes above a certain amount. I think that was something that we all complained about in the past.
Tiffany.
Tiffany, you first.
Well, my concern is that if we always have it at extra 10%, then every contractor that comes in knows that they can go at least 10% over without prior authorization from the council. So I'd like them to stay, they gave us this bid, I'd like them to stay within this bid, and if there's a problem, then it just comes back to the council. I mean, that's my feeling.
Pete.
And I thought what I heard Bernard saying was that, and it may clarify if I'm saying this incorrectly, but what I thought I heard you saying was your concern is that people put in a low bid so they win the contract and then they submit change orders because they know that they're not gonna be able to do it for that price. And then change orders can be approved.
Basically by the city administrator, and this thing can blow up.
And so that's what you're saying, you'd like to add a not to exceed.
A not to exceed,
And then,
so we give the city administrator a limited authority on how much we can spend on this project.
and did
Because right now, it's basically 204 plus 25, plus 25, infinity. It's not a not to exceed.
and I guess, was that something we talked about in the last contract? Was that the thing that was different, unfortunately? The not to exceed, because I remember we talked about the contingency.
I think that the not to exceed is where I got stuck last time, and maybe other council members did as well. Where what I heard was that not to exceed that additional 10%. And this time what I'm hearing is, it's not that they can't go over that because stuff happens, life happens, they find an extra conduit in the ground, or we have to move the vault twice, or, whatever it is. But just that these are guardrails so that city council is able to be updated about it. And to your point, Tiffany, is that you said, yeah, they reach this amount and they come back. There's no guardrails in place ensuring that that information will be relayed back to us. Tiffany.
And then in the report, 20%, that's gonna be another
10.
10% still, 10% still gonna be, that's another $20,000. And we only have 200 and, what was it, where is it?
It's $3,000.
243.
243 is what the grant's for.
The grant is for 243, but we, after the engineering costs, there's only, we only have $207,000 and $207,670, so that would be well over the remaining balance of what we have, the 10% would be. So,
All right, Courtney. We're not gonna tear up the street, hit that $207,000 and be like, oh, project's over, can't keep going.
Yeah.
If it needs to go over that, it will, and that's just part of setting out work. Go ahead.
But because this is a grant, the grant's limited to 243,000. Even if I have $25,000 for authorization, I gotta come back to you because you have to tell me where I'm gonna get the money from.
exactly.
Period.
Does that address your concern, Bernard?
And his is a general concern on any contract that we're doing, but we wanna make sure there's a backstop. But this is a state grant that we know what the total amount that we could spend on.
So I guess it's a little different. I mean, I feel like what you just said is there's no way to go over that without coming back to council, which I think is Bernard's concern.
Going back to the state saying, okay, can we get some more money? In any case, you're gonna have to know about it.
Courtney, I've got a question about that. You said regardless if it goes over and you have to spend funds as you are allowed to, you're supposed to come back to council and find out where those funds come from?
Yeah, where would you like me to take them from? Here's,
Cause they're not budgeted. Right, but I thought that was part of that that rule, that
The
law.
25,000 spending.
Yeah.
Well, that's only if it's budgeted, then his limit, the city administrator limits 25,000, but if it's not budgeted. He's gotta find out where council wants to take that money from.
I definitely bring back recommendations, but I can't do it without your approval.
And you would. And that's, you know, the other thing to think about is that just because it's something that seems common sense to a lot of people, doesn't mean that the next city administrator or the city administrator after that would see it the same way.
But hopefully this is done before I'm out of here.
Bernard,
Well, in the spirit of efficiency. My preference is that if we have a change order that requires another $10,000-$15,000, he doesn't have to come back to us. He has the authority at 10% contingency to manage that and get the project done. And again, in the spirit of efficiency, if I'm not mistaken, the budget review. Streets had a very healthy contingency. I would like to authorize the city administrator to be authorized to spend an additional 10% and take that from the contingency. I think we should just do that now. So it's like, you have what you need from council. We're gonna get out of the way and you get this project done. That's how I think a good council would operate.
but did you just not say that that's not how it works on grants? Is my understanding correctly?
We have to, I mean, the state would be happy to if we paid for whatever the overages were.
Right.
But we really need to manage the project with the engineer to stay within the budget that the state has granted to us. So that we don't get violated, so we can get another grant in 2 years. It's every 2 years that we can get one of these things. So I appreciate the intent, but and the confidence, but we have $243,670 that we can spend on this. That's all.
Courtney,
Sounds like maybe this isn't the practical application of this. I'm saying that there would be more. If you're like, yeah, we'll authorize 10% ahead of the grant, well, if we're looking at implementing something like this, then we'll have to figure out every time we're going to spend money, we'll have to figure out, yeah, where is that 10% gonna come before. And so I think with the stipulations and with the restrictions, maybe this is the best time to implement this particular strategy.
and maybe I'll just throw it out there. It's not for conversation tonight, but if you're really worried about city administrators spending too much money or not coming to council, maybe that spending limit should be cut down. Just a thought. Another train, huh?
I personally like getting updates and I think it would be something that
Yep.
I would like to look into, but it sounds like there's
Yeah.
a lot of particular.
Any other discussion on the approved award of residential street rehabilitation contract? All right, so I have a motion on the floor by Pruitt, second by Howland, to approve award of the residential street rehabilitation contract. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right, we have one opposed, Seeger. And 5 yay. All right, so the motion does pass. Next up is approve new council dais and presentation table and sound system.
So I met with the board, and they're willing to pay for half. But they want it installed first so they can see it. Just, I'm not gonna, no comment. So I just did a little, brainstorming. Bradcom looked at the system with the microphones, and they're recommending microphones that come up off the table so that your paperwork and shuffling around doesn't go on the mics for these. And then I reached out to the Oregon Corrections Enterprises, which do our desks, all of our desks, Oregon Corrections Enterprises. That's the state prison that does that work. And asked them for a quote of what it would be to build a dais for 9 people. In 3 sections, so it's on wheels, so it's movable, separable. And this is the quote they came back. This is, if you're interested in doing this, we'll figure out how to come up with half of it. And the board will come up with the other half, and we can order this thing and improve our furniture. And you don't have to worry about the chairs either. I just have to buy 2 chairs that are serviceable, relatively cheap. $120. And their hydraulics work.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion so we can have discussion on that.
Yeah, a motion by Pruitt,
Well, you want me to make the motion?
Mhm.
Approve the new council DS and presentation table and sound system.
I'll second it.
and I got a second by Happy. So I have a motion on the floor by Pruitt, second by Happy to approve the new council dais and presentation table and sound system. Tiffany.
Okay. I have concerns doing anything with the report without, based on a handshake or a nod. I mean, I feel like we've done things in the past that they've, not fulfilled their obligation and we end up getting stuck with the whole bill. So is there any way to, I don't know, necessarily contractualize this or
Well, I'm sure there is.
put it in writing so that we for sure get them to pay for the other half? Cause I don't wanna be left holding the bag on this.
I would think it would be appropriate for Mr. Blue to say it's have to make a motion to approve it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna read to you guys this here. Sherelle's not here. She's excused, but I told her that I would read what she had to say about this topic. And what she says, she's hoping that council chambers furniture doesn't get decided on tonight. I think it would be prudent for us to see some other options. She thinks there might be a cheaper, more versatile options. Furniture needs to be able to move easy, lightweight, and durable. It also needs to be interchangeable, not just one setup. Need to consider the needs for the space, including capacity. Budget is 14 folks plus staff. So that's just some, I told her that I would make sure that I read that to you guys, so you guys have her thoughts. And Pete.
I think that, personally, I'd like to move forward with the sound system recommendation by Brad Comp and forgo the furniture. And I feel like, especially with concerns about the port paying their half, this would be a way to at least move that forward, but we're not on the hook for $43,000. It'd be a way to kind of start the upgrade, and I think that there are a lot of folks that rely on Zoom as a way to access our meetings and see what's happening. And as we all know, the audio quality is so terrible, that it's really hard to hear, especially when people shuffling papers and things. So in my opinion, that's the top priority, and I think our focus really should be on being financially responsible, and we need to do this. I feel like it is very high priority, but at the same time, we're still recruiting for a city administrator, finance director. We're still behind on our audits, and I think it's just a lot of money to spend on furniture that isn't needed, but sound system, in my opinion, is a priority.
Yeah, it's similar comments to Councilmember Happy. I don't support spending the $36,000 on the new furniture. From the budget conversation, I remember was talking about the sound system and chairs. I remember the rest of this. In my opinion, it works, right? I mean, we're not supposed to be a fancy city. We're supposed to be in my mind, a very, simple-minded, but we get the stuff done. This is getting the stuff done. I don't think it needs to be upgraded. I know chairs are really old and they could probably be replaced. So I'd be supportive of that. And we know the sound system is critical because that's a public involvement thing. I want our public to be able to hear and experience council meetings as clear as possible. So we can have good quality minutes because we use that system. And that's the public engagement that I'd like to see as a city council member. And I don't know about you guys, but I think of a lot of things I'd like to do with $36,000. I mean, the roof needs money. I mean, we now have this mess on 220 Benson that we might be required to do a a code enforcement action. You know, you lien the property, you never, you don't, that type of cleanup doesn't get done unless you have money available to do it. And that might be required, and I would think that would be a good use of that money, or a roof instead of the dais furniture, so I don't support this. This motion is currently provided.
Courtney.
Definitely in support of the sound system. I had a lot of fun envisioning this fancy looking furniture in here. It was definitely a nice dream, for a moment, and I do appreciate you looking into it. I think that the Oregon Corrections Enterprise is a great company to partner with. I am curious from an electrical standpoint, I see that you added these plugins. Does Radcomp, is the bid from Radcomp, for our current setup? Like as far as having the one outlet, attached to a power strip?
I am not technically a wizard enough to know.
Cause I was just gonna throw it out there, if Radcomp was under the impression that we were gonna potentially add more things, okay.
They had no, there was no cross contamination. Right,
It works.
in this bid, and I put the bid together for the diets. Just so you can know, maybe next year, you know how much to put in the budget if you wanna do it for next year, but also to show it. The idea about we have more people in here for budget committee, you have 9 around here, you have the table over here, and you could just add more tables here, we could fit nine people. We used to do a lot of things in this room where we had to move the table. We don't do those things anymore, we don't have staff. Christmas, what we do those things, what they call that?
Party,
The
holiday party.
You know, where we did all the wrapping and paper and everything.
Yeah.
So, when it was to give you an image, a glimpse, a hope, a dream of what you could probably do. And I just remember when I ripped the wood paneling off the walls and we painted this thing, what an upgrade that felt like from being enclosed. I just was hoping that on my way out, I could give a little more elegance to the community. But, you know, I think it would be great if we could do the sound system and maybe just get the new chairs. Cause that's less than the $5,000 we got budgeted.
Yeah.
But get the port to do it.
Yeah.
The commission that they in writing that they will pay for now.
Yeah, Pete.
And just wanna, you might remember this, Mayor, when we were talking about chairs before, we had a resident that sells office furniture and he had a real deal on on chairs, and at the time we didn't go for it, but I feel like that's somebody we should at least do a comp. I think that.
You know, that's much.
Yeah, it was Ted Dodd.
Oh.
So if you've got contact info for Ted, I'd reach out to him and just see if they've got any surplus chairs that on clearance, good deals that, you know. He's invested in our community and he wants to, you know, so he wants to help us out.
Well, I'd like it to be standardized.
We don't wanna have a mismatch of chairs, no.
Yeah.
And he had, at the time, he had enough chairs for everybody and they were a significant discount. So
You guys.
I don't know if you could beat $119 up from Office Depot, that's a pretty good deal, but.
And you can get those in black or it's a crate.
But $651 per chair.
Like 129.
No, I'm talking about the Maximus HD Task Black Leather chairs for $7,000 chairs.
Come on now.
I can't,
It's my money.
I wanna get out of these meetings, you know, I don't.
We don't
Want to come
stay
over there forever.
Okay, so I'd like to modify my motion to include only the audio in the chairs.
And written.
And the written,
Yeah.
and make sure we have a written contract with the.
I will
courts.
order anything so we can. give that.
Will you restate it just for the
I make a
record?
motion, to approve the funds for only the audio system and new chairs. With the port required to pay half of it, and there be a contract to make sure that they do pay their half.
Second, some commitment of writings like that.
Yes.
And so I got a second, Calvin on that.
And that was Seeger.
Sarah Seeger? Okay.
Well, she has, doesn't she have to second? the-
Kathy was the second on the first one.
And I can second that.
Okay, so
And then how do we, as far as, sorry to got a question in point of order that, so as far as the chairs, are we approving the 119 on your motion, or is this gonna be? City administrator.
But I'll bring it back and figure, I'll let him figure that out, because it.
That's within my spending.
$7,000 of chairs.
It's the big chair's gonna go back in the corner.
So the motion on the floor is by Pruitt, seconded by Happy, and it's only for the funds for the audio and the chairs, and we would appreciate a written contract from the port. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, 6, all in favor. Thank you, guys.
I think that deserves a little round of applause. We've been talking
Yeah.
about it since then for so long, so.
Yeah.
It's feels like we're kind of.
Let's wait till we get it.
Yeah, I know, I'm excited to see it.
It's been my arch nemesis since before I was,
Right?
Yes.
All right, so,
Can't clap and talk at the same time.
or move papers. Let's see. Reports and presentation, department reports, committee reports.
Just the tourism committee notes were the minutes were in the back of the packet.
Okay. And the annual review resolution number 1522, establishing wastewater rates.
There was in our tickler file a note to have the council review the resolution establishing the water rates, or excuse me, sewer rates. And I did a little analysis for you in the staff report. Any questions on that?
so basically, you're just asking if we just wanna continue with the, sorry.
It's- Yeah, basically, it's council review. Are you happy with this? Does it make sense? We need to revisit it. In my opinion, I don't think we need to revisit it this year.
Any questions?
No.
No? Everything's good. All right. Moving on, city administrator report.
Tried to keep it short, but it didn't work. On the ADA Harding project, we were contemplating asking for an extension. We're like trying to do a scope of work change where we get a building built instead of, because we can't get the transformer by the time frame. And basically the EDA said, don't even ask. The answer is no. Don't ask for an extension, you won't get it. Don't ask for a change of scope of work, you won't get it. So we've gone back to the original scope of work. And the intent of the scope of work was to build resiliency into our electrical system. And so, and I haven't gotten the response back from the engineers yet, but if we could refurbish the 6 megawatt transformer that is currently on the BPA substation, upgrade it to 8 megawatts, which is its maximum capacity, and put it back online. Because we generally only use about 8 megawatts or less per day. Then when it's time to refurbish the pyramid substation, taking it from 14 to 20 megawatts, we don't have to rent a transformer, we don't have to do anything else, we can power the city of the refurbished transformer from the BPA substation while we refurbish the pyramid substation. The other question the EDA had was, because we had found the geotech engineer as a partner of our city engineer, the EDA said, no, it has to go through a process to competitive bid to get a geotechnical engineer. Well, that's gonna add 6 to 8 weeks. And we add that onto the beginning of the project, we're never gonna get finished in time for the June 27th, January 27th meeting deadline. So I went back to the engineers and I said, over engineering. This is for pole replacements. Do it without a geotechnical report. Engineer it so that it based on the worst possible scenario, over engineer. And so we can get this going. And they said it's gonna cost more money. I said, I have more money available, because we're not getting the $600,000 transformer. We're not paying $240,000 to move that transformer here. We're not paying $250,000 to install the transformer. Over-engineer it. Let's do as much of the original design distribution as we can. And then we will de-obligate what we don't spend. So we're waiting for the engineers to rewrite the scope of work to give to the EDA for their approval, which is going to have more delays because they just take their time. And I gotta get it done as fast as I can so that we can have time to do this work. Otherwise, they will pay us for what we've already spent and de-obligate the rest of the funds, and we will have nothing to show for 6 years worth of work. Just wanted to bring you up to date.
Thank you.
That's number one. Also, I included the OMB, Office of Management and Budget from the federal government. Their proposed guidelines for projects. And you can see that it's you're basically doing these guidelines now with the threat to not give us an extension and to de-obligate the land. But again, that's just so you know what's going on with that. Required ethics training. Every city councilor and public official like myself is required to go through ethics training. I sent you all an email on how to get that training from the League of Oregon Cities website. You need to just make note of when you take which seminar, which training you take, when you take it. So that if the ethics commission asks you, you can say, yes, I did that on this date. But it's self-directed, yes.
So if my memory serves correctly, I think that LOC puts on that ethics training and they did it at the Park Pavilion. But it was, so this is more, and they did it kind of the beginning of my term, but this is more for the people that are filling a vacancy.
This is one per term. Every time you get re-elected, you have to do the.
I understand, and what I'm saying is they timed that training so that it happened and coincided when we were sworn in last time, so once per term.
Well, I've actually done it since then too. They did it in the Dalles too. But again, you have to make note. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you gotta just write it down, take notes, keep it in your wallet. I don't know.
So to answer your question, yes, it's just for those who come on board, like Courtney and Chanel and Tom. If you so choose this, but Tom's not gonna be here for very long, so.
So it's once per term.
So it's, and I guess my point was, I feel like LOC, you know, whether it's every 4 years or every 2 years because of the mayors, they try to offer this training so that it meets that requirement. But where there's a gap is for those people that are maybe stepping in to fill vacancies.
But again, you can do it at home.
Yes.
So it's a series of 5 videos. One from ranging from an hour and a half to 20 minutes. So, but again, just a reminder for you to do that, and it's self-directed. You won't hear from me again. Also in your boxes was the 27-28 legislative league, the LOC legislative priorities. We get the opportunity to select the top five that is most important to the city of Cascade Locks and send that into the League of Oregon Cities by the end of September. Again, that's a lot of material for you to absorb, to vote on, but I wanted to bring that up to your attention. Again, it'll be on the future agenda. So you don't have to have it done by the next one. Also included in your boxes was the cost of service study by GDS Engineering Associates. Please read that, and we will be discussing that at a future city council meeting. National Night Out, Port of Cascade Locks has partnered with Main Street Cascade Locks to sponsor a combined community picnic and the city's National Night Out for the Fire and EMS Department held in Marine Park August 4th from 4 to 11:30. They're gonna have lots of fun things to do. And they expect the city council members to take on the board commissioners in a tug of war. I don't know. The day's activities will conclude with a movie in the park. Total budget for this is $6,564.95. Main Street Cascade Locks is asking the city to contribute $1,455 to support the event. That would be taken out of the $5,000 budget in the 26-27 budget called Support Community Events. Would you like to have that discussion, ideas, whatever?
Do you have a question?
Well, I don't mind supporting it, but again, citizens don't have this report yet. And we're voting on things that they don't get to see before we vote on it, so I'd like, again, I mean, at this board, that I would like these sorts of things to be. On the agenda for people to see so that we can vote on it.
Well, I'd be happy to do that if I got it today.
And August 4th right around the corner.
I get that.
And again, it's under my spending limit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last year, I think we spent more on this, on National Night Out than this.
But we are putting this online, correct?
Yes.
After the meeting,
Yeah. That'll be tomorrow, but
yeah, no, tonight.
you heard?
And can we post that there may be a quorum down there? I won't be there for National Night Out because the mayor's conference happens to be the 5th,
So if you don't talk to each other while you're down there,
right?
or you just talk about conversational things,
Yeah,
how you're doing,
right.
you're
So we don't
okay.
need to do
But if
anything.
you talk about any decision that's gonna come before the council,
Okay.
then it's under legal. That's in the ethics training.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is.
So do you need an approval, do you need a?
I just need consensus. to get-
No consensus. I know, dude.
No consensus.
Just thumbs up or something.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
And enjoy all of the reading that you have been assigned.
Thank you.
yes. Right, mayor and city council comment.
I have a question about the report.
Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay. So the EDA grant, so. Do you have an estimate on how much we will spend when we do this reduced scope project that?
So far, we've spent somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000 on engineering. The project as currently bid is about 900,000 with the over engineering that I've requested and the refurbishment of the transformer, BPA transformer. That's probably gonna take it to 1.2, 1.3 million, and we have 3 million available.
Okay, so that would leave about 1.3.
We're probably gonna have to give $1 million back.
Okay. And
You make the obligation.
the new right, yeah. And we asked the attorney to look at the language of the agreement. Cause when I see hardening, I think underground, I think undergrounding the 6 miles of Wyatt, I feel like. Let's throw $1 million at that, and part of me says, let's just do it and see what the federal, I don't think the federal government would care, they're supporting something like that.
I really
That's
appreciate
where my brain goes, to be honest,
I think that's great.
instead of leaving that money on the table,
Well,
or de-obligating.
they told us to go ahead and just cancel the project right now. And I'm fighting tooth and nail not to.
Who's
Because
that?
the EDA are the project engineer that's assigned to review our project. And he gave me,
Based on what? What's that?
he gave, based on not being able to do the project as currently. Well, some of the problems we've had is the engineering firm that was selected. When they submitted the bid for the first time, they were gonna go through, take this out to bid, they quoted Washington state law. They quoted federal law from the Johnson administration that did not apply. And they ought to know how to write a grant or a bid, but they don't. So we had to have that reviewed, and luckily we found a person who does that professionally, and they did it for us for free. To review, these are all the things that they, well. After this is the bid document. And they just don't know how to do it. So we're working with them, we're training them on that. because of where the BPA, the transformer is still in place in the BPA substation, and we've already purchased a substation. I didn't include that. That's $250,000 that we've already spent. It's within this original scope of work. And we're hardening, and we're going over because we can't go under the freeway. So that's what the hardening is the new poles on the south side of the freeway, new poles on the north side of the freeway. And upsize and stouter wire going across the freeway so that it doesn't fall down onto the freeway. That's part of the project. And then we're undergrounding through Snyder's territory to get to the vault that's on Forest Lane. And then back up above to go to our distribution to the center, to the city center, and distribution to the industrial park. So that's the basic project, and coming down the hill. Upsizing the wiring so we can have carry more. And so that's all, because it's all in the same area, that's kind of within, in my opinion, the kind of scope of work. But if we talk about undergrounding out to Wyatt or undergrounding down to downriver, that was never mentioned before. And again, the EDA has given us until September 21st to either get the bid going or cancel the project.
And in my understanding, right, the money is already in the city, right?
No,
This is reimbursable, right?
reimbursement. And 18% of it is a loan from the state. So whatever we do, we're gonna assign a loan from the state and pay that back.
Okay, thank you.
Stephanie, so what happens if we don't get any project approved? Do we have to pay that money back?
No, they will pay what we've already expended.
Okay.
No, the feds will pay 82% of it. The state will loan us 18%. And we'll pay that back.
All right, any other questions?
I just comment.
Okay.
Along those lines, I hope we get something of value for the, 18% that we're contributing towards this project. I feel like it was kind of something we did because we thought we'd be able to get this done with federal funds. We're only going to pay a small percentage of it. Then we couldn't get that project done. Now we're gonna do something of questionable value, in my opinion.
Well, it'll be good to have at least enough capacity for doing either or on the transformers. Because that gives us some redundancy. If the pyramid substation goes down. And we have to rent a 25 megawatt transformer to keep the city going again. And it could be down for a day, it could be down for a week. Depending on how.
But that makes sense. Is it realistic though? Are we gonna get that? The transformer
Refurbished, that's what I waited for the engineers to tell me.
And I just wanna, it just seems like that this has been a series of missteps on somebody's part, and it's just really frustrating. If we would have had this taken, is this a normal amount of time that this sort of thing takes, or had things just not been done properly previously?
The project started in,
I had this project started.
I understand that.
It was ready to go when I went. And then the engineering firm we used, BKI, got bought by Vantage Point, and that's where the wheels came off. But on the engineering side, where the wheels came off on the city side.
yeah. All right,
Thanks, Tiffany. I'm trying to wrap my head around this too.
I know, I'm
Take sure to do this. and-
we haven't gotten anywhere. We've already filed, we're on an extension now.
And we wanna be seen as responsible stewards of this money, so that we can be more, I feel like. If they're looking at who to give money to and they see this sort of mismanagement, like, why are we gonna give them money? Let's give it to somebody else. So.
Well, now you're into the realm of why we have to get our audits up to date.
Yeah.
They're never gonna give us another one until we're up to date.
Right.
Hand in hand, so both of these things happen simultaneously at the same time. And,
All right, so we're on to mayor and city council comments. Bernard, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. So with regard to the 220 Southwest Benson property, I'd like to request that council support having a little update done. I think it would be led by our compliance officer, Mr. Ross Bright, and tell us the process on what it would look like to get this property remediated. Having done this work, I know these can be really difficult, but I don't have a clear understanding on how we get from where we are now, to a properly mitigated, property that's, not a safety hazard to all the neighbors. And so, I'd love council to support that direction, the city administrator, maybe at the next meeting, if that's possible.
I can give you an update now, but it's not complete. Mr. Ross Bright has been working with these people. Every time they get a call, he's down there, he's telling them, you gotta get a demolition permit from the county, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. We're finally at the stage where we're going to cite them into municipal court and take this property owner to court with the plan to clean it up. And we're putting together all the documentation right now to do that. But
Do these residents know that?
that was just today, we started we started from last week, the project. So, and I apologize, I will call Monica tomorrow and apologize to her, but she was in the offices and her kids were all running around. It's just.
I wanted to ask her if it was you or previous,
No, it was me.
Actually,
No, it was me. And I've talked to her, and I've told him, and Ross Bright's been actually working with the property owner. He helped find a place in the motel to stay with the Red Cross. He helped them find a place, the property owner find a place to stay. And we've been working with them every step of the way, but these people are
Non-responsive,
challenging.
non-responsive,
Yeah.
yeah.
right,
So that's why we have to take them to court, to get their attention, to stop what they're doing. I mean, and the police have been out there. Our public works people have been out there. I'm gonna send the Alan over at our electric department to see what about the connection. We cited them, we've hauled vehicles off the property. You helped out with when the dumpster was there, starting to clean up, that kind of stuff. We have been working with these people for months even before the fire. And they were living in an RV, we tagged the RV, they moved the RV. And then they moved it back. So Ross's Jake is doing everything that he knows how to do, and now we're elevating it to the municipal court system. I can send a letter to the neighbors and let them know what's going on. It's a long process.
but that's what they need to understand, and so they're not, I've talked to other neighbors who didn't come tonight and complaining about this property. And I told him, I said, I know this is painful, but there's due process, we have a process, you can't just send the city in there with dump trucks and just start, we can't do that. We have to follow state laws and our ordinances. But they don't understand that. So a presentation by Mr. Ross Bright, step 1 through step 10 on what it takes to get this property mitigated would be helpful to me, so I can explain that when I talk to other folks, as well as these folks who came in tonight, that said, look, we hear you, and this is the actions we're taking deliberately to get this remedy, and it does have our attention, and we're gonna get it done. The other thing that I wanted to say is that I don't know what's on our compliance officer's plate, but I would like to request that this be moved to the top of his priorities.
It is at the top.
Okay, thank you.
And it has been for quite a while. And in fact, I've had to rein him in a little bit because he's not following the appropriate process. So now he is partnering with our city attorney to make sure we go through the right process.
Okay,
He's collecting all the information from the neighbors, for violations, nuisances. And
So the fire marshal, the hazmat people, any of these agencies, none of them can stop them from going on that property because it's dangerous.
Not yet. I wish I could tell you otherwise, we would have done it, but,
Yeah. Yeah, I will, yeah, it'd be good for us to get an update and I don't know, but yeah,
Okay, and two other things.
yep.
So regarding that fire, again, a neighbor said the night of the fire, it was a bit chaotic. And they made some comments, or they know someone who's done fire response work in other communities. And they said, look, I saw some things that could have been more properly delivered in the fire department's
Mhm.
response. And I emailed the city administrator, says, you know what, I think we've had 2 fires in like 6 months. I think it might be a good little tutorial to have chief come in and say, let me walk council what happens in a fire response. We have a structured fire in town. Step 1, step 2, we do notifications of house, all these things, because I don't, it's been forever since I was in that chair. And I think it would be good for us to get a refresher on how that works. And so, again, we can just probably understand things, and when we have citizens come and ask, like, why didn't this happen? Why didn't that happen? I didn't have a good answer, right? So I would like to request that of council on, again, direction to staff, if you guys are okay with that. That was the second one. And then the third one was, I listened to a fun podcast called Volt. And it's about the clean energy transition, but they take on different issues. And lo and behold, they took on an issue about land use development and how you get smarter development in towns. And what you do with dilapidated properties that no one seems to want to develop. It's like, oh my God, this is Cascade locked, right?
Mhm.
And the idea that the concept they kicked around was allowing land value property tax, which is limited to land value. It's not about the development on the property. And it's a fascinating conversation. If council's okay, I would love to email you this podcast. If you get a chance, it's like 15 minutes. I would love to, listen to it and get your thoughts, and we just kind of have a fun conversation sometime. I did a little homework with Claude on the viability. We are talking about the state constitution to allow a change or reform property tax structure. But to me, it's revenue neutral. It doesn't charge anybody. It doesn't bring more revenue to the city. It just shifts how the revenue is applied to the properties in your town, and incentivizes vacant properties and to get developed, which God knows we need, right? And so, anyway, I just wanted to mention that, council, and say, if you guys are okay, I'd love to email that to you.
Yeah.
On your council website, or council email. Okay, that's all I had, Mayor.
All right, hey, thank you. Courtney?
I don't have much. I had a small list of questions about the fire, but we covered all of them. I always say I'm happy to see people here. It's a bummer that was the topic. But other than that, I don't have much. Thanks.
Thank you, Courtney. Tom?
Saying on that, I think that we need to be relentless on. And so I'd like to see this one. So a good example for me is what you did with the pump up there on Brunswick Road. I mean, every meeting.
Yeah.
Cause I forget to do things. I forget to follow through on things. But you never forgot to follow through on getting that, make sure that pump was done. I think every meeting, it should be brought up of where we're at, what we're doing on, and we should be relentless on staying on top of whatever help we need to give them.
Yeah.
If they need help, but we need to stay relentless on this thing, because they shouldn't have to live this.
No.
Neither one of them, neither of them should have to live this way. And yeah, and it's not easy, like I said, it is not an easy thing to do. you are gonna have to stay on top of it, cause it's easy to find that, it's easy for them to just blow it off, especially if they can convince you to blow it off.
Yeah.
We cannot blow it off, it should be brought up every meeting, where we're at, where we're at, what's going on, and how we're doing it. They gotta know that we're on top of it.
Yes.
Well, there's no way they should have to live this way. But anyway, that's what that, we need to. It's easy to lose track when somebody comes in and says something to you. It's easy to get to the next meeting and you have all brand new issues, all brand new things going on. Yeah, I wanna be able to hear about it every meeting,
Every time.
every meeting, what we're doing is stay on top of these. And then, so the other thing, I brought up from a citizen on Forest Lane, on traffic on Forest Lane, on vehicles out of control, same issues that the mayor's been fighting for 3 years too. But I've also heard though now, and see if there's something we can do, it should be, to me, a fairly easy fix, is because we have the bike rentals. Lots of people are renting these bikes, and they're renting on the east end of Forest Lane and coming to the west, coming downtown, and so it's a whole lot of people are riding e-bikes and all that are not used to riding e-bikes. And they're packing, they're doubling up, they're tripling, they're taking up the whole, they're treating Forest Lane like that is strictly a bicycle lane for them, and everybody, so they're frustrating the drivers. You're gonna have drivers trying to get around them. So my thing is, can we have a conversation with Bike the Gorge or anybody else out there who's renting bikes and winding up in our town? Being able to talk to them about, say, hey, go single file, stay on the show, the road's not yours. That's a high, there's a lot of traffic on that road, and you need to treat it like that. Don't hold up traffic, don't do anything to hold up traffic. So if they would keep pushing that, through Forest, I think that would help us, because the bike rental, the e-biking, it is just gonna, we got too many places, too many cool places to ride those things around here, and it's, in my mind, it's just gonna grow and grow and grow. And Forest Lane is gonna become, well, it already has, to some extent, an issue. So, anyway, get the company to work with us a little bit on how their customers manage their operation of the vehicles. But that's it for me.
Hey, thank you, Tom.
I think that was the first issue Ted Dodd came before council to talk about, was bicyclists and, this amazing bike trail we got that dumps people off out of Wyatt, and it doesn't connect, all the way on the other side of Cascade Locks. And all these people, riding their bikes down Forest Lane and also on Frontage Road without any bike lane. And I think we talked to the county about getting some rough numbers on what it would take to add curbs and bike lanes and widen the streets, and we got some numbers on that, and it was a while ago.
It's a city road.
No, Frontage Road is.
Oh, not frontage. No, frontage is where.
This is from the county, Frontage Road and their portion of Forest Lane.
Yeah, frontage road is where they should be going.
Well, where we have bike lanes, they're not using. And so my issue is, we need to educate these people who are renting these.
But I think it is in the state of Oregon, I think they have they're a vehicle and they have the right to use the entire lane. Here, Highway 30, right? Oh, yeah, Highway 30, you can't pass on their same deal. I think that they're considered a vehicle, any bicycle.
It's called micro mobility, scooters. Same thing.
Yeah, so it's really on us as vehicle, driving your vehicle to avoid them, and we have to be responsible in operating our vehicles, but they have the right to drive that one on the road.
They're gonna be,
Doesn't mean-
right, that's good, but they're gonna lose any issue. They're gonna lose any kind of irritation that's created.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's up to them.
This issue on, really grateful for Jared and Monica for speaking this evening. I didn't catch the first person's John, I didn't get his name. Maybe I can take a look at his letter when we're done. Appreciate them coming tonight. But yeah, we did have two fires.
John Randall.
We can see two distinct different ways that those properties are being managed and one being done through the insurance and having a professional organization come through and for anybody that stopped by there after the fire, there's a bunch of signs saying keep out asbestos. And the people who were doing that asbestos abatement were wearing full on hazmat suits. And so I'd be real concerned too if I was living next door to that. This isn't a project that just a homeowner can go and.
Yeah.
And I have seen that excavator at the Shell station, driving down one on top of it. And. So that's not okay, so I'm glad that it's on your radar and we're doing what we can to. Try to encourage, the right behavior.
Got it, thank you.
Two other issues that I feel like are real pressing that I didn't hear us talk about tonight was city administrator recruitment and audit update. And I think that was something we were getting regular audit updates before. And I'd like to continue that tradition.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't speak to the city administrator recruitment, but somebody that we know anyone was gonna talk about that later. On audits, we have completed, as much as we can, the bank reconciliations for June of 2024. It does not balance, so now we're going back through and finding out why it doesn't balance, but that should be done.
It's the treasurer 310 that's causing me
Yeah,
issues.
it's federal funds that are.
Those are the issues I got.
But we're also working with the auditors to say, can we just kind of skip over this and go forward? So it's submittal to the auditors of the 23-24 audit is very close.
Excellent, thanks. Is it possible, along those lines, that vein, that reconciliation discrepancy, is that something that you can use to reconcile reconciliations that don't balance?
That's what kind of we're asking the auditors, when does it become significant? But we need to know where that money is, where it's from, because we need to know where to put it.
Yeah.
It's rural development money, it's medical reimbursements for VAs and from our fire department, medical EMS. It's we rent space in the fire hall to the Columbia Gorge scenic area for firefighting equipment. It's what was the other
It's the
thing?
US Coast Guard utility, it's the airport cameras. And unfortunately, the Treasury Department doesn't give you the information we need. Sorry, they don't. I've contacted rural development, I've contacted DPA. I still do not have all the information I need.
But we're narrowing it down. So I'm sure it's kind of fine.
And then while we're trying to finish that up, are we also working on the next one?
It's gotta, yes and no. We'll continue with the bank reconciliations, but we have to get the county data in shape to send to the auditors before we start the next. What we're finding though is the consistency of the mistakes. So each month, it's a little bit easier to reconcile because they made the same mistake over and over and over again. So, but again, I should have put an update on it in the staff report, but.
I'll make sure we do it on the next agenda. That's totally.
Yeah, those are appreciated, so thank
Yeah.
you. The biggest priorities in my mind are getting out and done
Yeah.
and the replacement for our hardworking city administrators, so.
Geez, they're all hard.
Thanks, Marion.
You what?
You're doing all the hard work.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a good thing, Marianne, it's okay.
It's okay. You never know.
Very well.
Right.
That's all I got.
Hey, thank you, Pete. Tiffany.
Something else that wasn't in your city administrator report that we hired somebody to clean the bathrooms.
Oh, sorry. True.
Yeah, so we have somebody now who's.
do.
So I turned the key over. Beginning of last week, so. I was gonna, I
Have you checked on our work?
I did in the middle of the day,
They weren't clean.
it wasn't, but it was, I think it was on the. When was it? Yeah, Saturday, I checked it Saturday afternoon. About 4 o'clock, so I don't know.
Care who we hired?
It's Juana Cortez,
Oh,
JC
yeah.
Cleaning.
She's a good cleaner.
She will get she's gonna pressure wash it on that, so I'm sure it's just the timing where it's not so busy where she can get in there and do it good.
No, she's excellent.
There's a huge paper issue in that bathroom. I mean, I don't know what people are doing, but I mean, I don't know how much toilet paper we're going through every month for that place, but I mean, so when I go down, when I was closing it up, there'd be paper everywhere. I mean, there'd be like toilet paper this thick on the toilets or in front of the toilet or behind the toilet, or, I mean, I don't know if there's any way we can eliminate some of that problem. I don't know if we can, I mean, I don't.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
You can't get for days or nothing like
Yeah, well, I mean, eventually, I mean, it's just something, I mean, because it's just, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't, it's, people just have no. I mean, I go down there and the homeless are sitting there and I look in the bathroom and I'm like, this is why we can't have nice things. And the homeless guy's saying, yeah, right, this is exactly right. So I mean, even they recognize that it's just not being treated, the bathrooms are not being treated very properly. I mean, and then I was wondering, is there any way that we can like cut down on the electric use in there? I mean, like put in skylights, something that, I don't know, that we don't have to have the lights on all the time. Are the lights on outside all the time or do they come on all the time or? Yeah,
No idea.
I mean,
I don't think they are. I think they come on.
I don't know, I have to check that out. Let's check that out, because it'd be nice if they weren't running all day long. Oh, and on the bike thing, there are also new rules about passing bikes, even with a solid, even when they're in a solid line, you can, as long as you can pass safely. I think I saw there's a little video, I saw a video somewhere, but you, don't take me, look it up yourself, please don't get in trouble because of what I say, but, I think you can legally pass on a solid line as long as it's safe to do so, because I think this is not a problem just for us, it's all over the.
I just looked it up. And the bicyclist is supposed to stay in the bike lane, but there's all these exceptions on when they can get out.
Right.
Overtaking another bicycle, there's debris, I mean, there's all these, but.
Yeah.
So trying to prosecute someone for is difficult, cause they'll
Understood.
go, well, I was just trying to go around the blah, you know, so.
But
It's, they say, in practical reality. Bikes have the right to ride on the main road because they're just trying to be safe, and even though it's preferred they do the bike lane, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, but they've also given car drivers a little bit more leniency on being able to pass them. I mean, if you think it's bad, I mean, you should drive up by Moser. We have a friend who lives up at Moser, and man, you pull around a corner and there's bikers right there. I mean, there's and they have nowhere else to go but on the road.
They're stuck in the main road.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, that's a challenge. So yeah, I would look it up. I have a question about, because I get questions from citizens about the Airbnb permit holders. Something, they express frustration because they have a place that they can have be an Airbnb, but we can't issue any license anymore. Can't issue them a license because somebody else has a license for a piece of property that they do not have as an Airbnb. So my question is, how long does somebody get to have a permit to be an Airbnb and not be an Airbnb before that permit expires?
I'd have to look at the ordinance. I don't think it's stipulated in there, as long as they keep their Airbnb.
But they aren't using it as an Airbnb, and somebody else can do an Airbnb.
They're just using it to keep someone else from being an Airbnb.
I think we need to look at that. I mean, personally, I don't think it's fair that somebody gets to hold on to an Airbnb permit just to keep somebody else from getting it.
Mayor, I mean, for what it's worth, when we did that short-term rental review, I don't know, about a year ago, I had a lot of things I wanted to, we were focused on the fee structure or whatever. There were other things I wanted to amend or propose we amend. I don't wanna put that on Mr. Zimmons. Private, to-do list, but for the new guy, can you start coming up with a list of things that once we get the new person settled, we can have them look in, cause I think, I agree. and yeah, we need, there should be some sideboards on that, and there's some other things that we have to change. So I would love that to be on a to-do list for a new administrator.
I've got one going.
Okay.
I've got several things on there that are
Thank
pretty important, but they're
you.
not
We don't wanna put them on.
exactly.
Thank you.
What, you don't want
He's got.
He's got money, right?
Are you sure?
Give me some.
And then thank you again to Sheldon and the crew for making the cemetery look nice on 4th of July. I would love to see it expanded into the downtown area. I mean, it's just really sad that it's only on one end of the town when all of the others, and are we still working with, Main Street and being able to hang banners for their celebration?
Yeah.
Maybe we can implement that,
Yeah.
maybe sometime next
We're
year.
doing that.
Wow.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so I'd like to see that expanded into the downtown, because you go into everybody's downtown and they got all their flags and it's very patriotic and.
The cemetery was great.
Yeah, the cemetery looked great, it looked fantastic, but I'd like to see it down Main Street. That's all.
All right, thank you, Tiffany. I was gonna tell Sheldon and Public Works and everybody, because it was a team effort. It was all the staff that made that cemetery look nice, because I think Carrie and staff went out and did the little flags on the graves and all that, and it did look really sharp. So, and then thank the port and everybody and the city who put on the July 4th celebration. And then we had yard debris last Saturday, and we had 21 trucks of yard debris. Down a little bit from the last one. I think it might have been because of the holiday, or maybe people got their stuff caught up. I don't know. And I made the newspaper, my face got in the newspaper, so you guys got ice cream tonight after council. And all staff have ice cream for tomorrow. I wanted to bring up our next council meeting is on July 27th, and that is, we'll have an executive session for the city administrator recruitment. You guys will have 6 candidates, and you'll pick, I'm hoping, the top 3. And then me and Kathy will let you kind of know what we thought, and then hopefully, from there, we will ask you at that meeting to start thinking about and penciling in that we're gonna have, where they come in for interviews and stuff. So we're looking at 2 days, and because our council meetings are on a Monday, we're not gonna do it a Sunday, Monday. So we may have to hold a special council meeting. That way we could do a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, whatever winds up working. But we're looking at the week of August 17th or the week of August 24th. So, we're gonna wind up, hopefully you guys can give us a date by the next meeting so we can block. We don't know what 2 days, but so that week kind of looks open for us, so we can get that done. So I'm really excited. We got some really good candidates. And I'm really excited for you guys to have the information and all that. And then that way we can do the, talk more about how we want to set it up, because I thought maybe we would have so we would do our interview process, but the day before have stakeholders and maybe a few citizens where they have what word do I want to use for it?
Expert panel.
A panel, yes, where they can ask questions and all that. And then we've talked about doing like a town hall to where they can kind of just mingle. So you can kind of see them mingle, maybe they give a 2 or 3 minute speech, and that way we can watch how they mingle with citizens and all that stuff. So, food for thought, you guys can give all your ideas and what you like about it, what you don't like about it, because I've heard it both ways, where we shouldn't do all that, where we shouldn't let staff meet them. And so I'm really looking forward to your guys' input and how you feel about it.
So how are they gonna get that information to review?
Kathy will give it to you she will give you paper, it will not come electronically. And you will get it, she will have it to you, I believe, on the July 22nd. You will receive that information in an envelope, confidential, 87 pages. And it's very confidential, so you're gonna have a lot of reading to do, what Gordon gave you tonight, and then this 87 pages. And it will come in an envelope here, and she'll mark it confidential, and you'll pick it up here, or someone will deliver it to you. If you need it delivered because of your schedule or whatever, if you let me know, I'll try to get it to you. I won't be leaving it on the porch or anything, cause we don't want anybody else to get their hands on it, cause it is really confidential. I think that's it. I wanted to thank John and Jared and Monica for coming to council. My heart really breaks that they have to live around them conditions. It just doesn't seem okay that we could possibly have hazmat material there and all this stuff, and people are allowed just to kind of mutter through it and scatter it and stuff, and I just, I know if I have an RV on my property, I'm not allowed to live in it, so did I hear that we have RVs on property living in them?
No, they use.
Correct. The one exception is if they were actually under construction, you can live in the RV while the home is being rebuilt, but that's about the only exception.
Right,
But no, they're living it well, they're.
yeah,
Again, we're,
yeah, I just don't know if there's any help from any other entity that can, like, tape it off and say you can't cross it. I mean, if there was a crime scene, the police would tape it off and you wouldn't cross it till they're done with it. I don't know, hopefully you can give them updates and keep them in, and then I've got it down, Tom, I really like that suggestion that I'll ask every meeting what's going on with it, so we have an update about the fire and the status, cause I didn't know it restarted 3 weeks later. That's the first I knew that the fire started again. Go ahead.
I think you should just go on the administrator update.
yes,
Yeah, it should go on that.
Number 6 should be, Ben 220 Vincent update.
Number 7, because audit updates number 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so too, but I'm
That's what
gonna put it
I
down.
recommend, I like,
I do.
and then it's on a radar.
Yes, and I agree with you, but I also wanna make sure I have it on my book, so if it doesn't get on that, I've got it on the radar and we're still getting an update,
Agreed.
so, and I think I have, the, mayor's conference coming up August 5th, 6th and 7th in Ashland, and so I reached out to all the businesses that I have emails for. Because I got a scholarship to attend this, a full scholarship with 3 nights lodging. And, usually you fix up a basket from businesses in your town that represent your town. And they silent auction that off, and that's how they're able to give people scholarships and stuff. And our town gets a lot of scholarships from the LOC. So I'm hoping that by me contacting the businesses in town and all that, that I can come up with a really nice basket that represents Cascade locks and be able to take it there for the silent auction and say thank you for that scholarship and for any others that they give us, because it's not just for the mayor's scholarship, it's for if you guys applied and you got one, then that's what that comes from. So I'm looking forward to that. So if you know of any businesses, I don't think I did your business.
free window.
Right? But yeah.
The house to our service area.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, that's about all I have. I don't have anything, but I wanted Mary Ann, if you would just give a little update on the audit, kind of like what you're dealing with, just a little piece of it. What you're dealing with?
What I'm dealing with is mainly the treasurer 310, because all of those dollar figures are in what they call a holding account that normally cities do not have. And if there is in the holding account, I have to find out what they are. I've already talked to the auditors. They agree I can leave them in there, but I have to find out where they are or where they go before I submit all my stuff to the auditor. So that is a big project right now. Some of them I'm located, some of them I haven't. So I'm doing my best to get a hold of the people that will tell me this, but I will tell you that the Treasury Department is very, very confidential and don't wanna tell you anything. I don't know any of the word.
So what you're getting is these blanket deposits that we don't know what most of it's for, and you're having to find out what they're for. So that's just having to find out every one of them that we don't know what is it. It's deposited into our account. So,
Yeah, they're automatic deposits and normally you have a website that you can go to and find it. Well, I have discovered that website, but not everything is on that website. So it's just, gotta keep searching and try to find them.
all right. Thank you. And then Elena, I think, has done our first payroll, right? And it was on July 1st, so she got to deal with pay raises and all of that good stuff, so it was an extra challenge.
There a lot.
But I wanna just thank all the city staff and everybody because it takes a village to keep this running. And I appreciate council and all that, and we are gonna make it. We're gonna make it, so.
Can I just say one more thing? I don't know what we've done tonight that's different, but that's kind of like out of focus, so I don't know if we can.
It's
Improve
on my list.
on your list, okay, good, all right,
Yeah.
thank you, all right, thank you.
All right,
Motion to adjourn.
all right, and second? Yeah,
Second.
all right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, it passes, we adjourn.
Ice cream.
Yes, ice cream's in there.
Hey, Mayor, I'm not to get to plan around me, but I'm out of town next week,
Okay.
so you're